it is so important that we do an acknowledgement of traditional lands. Royal Roads University acknowledges that the campus is located on the traditional lands of the Krusekopf, Esquimalt, and Lekwungen Songhees ancestors and families. It is with gratitude that we now learn and work here, where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together. Welcome. Just to make sure everybody's in the right room, we're going to be talking about the MBA in Executive Management today. And with me, I have Dr. Charles Krusekopf, Program Head. I have a current MBA student, Farid Poursoltani, and my name is Emara Angus, and I'm an education specialist. We also have our really knowledgeable enrollment team. They are monitoring the chat and they're with us today, and you can have a look at the chat and they'll introduce themselves. I believe we have Tracy and Alana here today. So any questions at any point when they come up, just feel welcome to pop them in the chat. Okay, so the agenda for today is a welcome and get to know one another. That's where we are right now. But I have a really quick poll because we want to get to know you a bit better. So I'll have everybody look up at their screens and I'm going to launch the poll right now. So it's a hello and welcome poll. And what it's asking is, what info are you hoping to learn at today's session? And you can select all of that, apply. So what the MBA program is all about, more about the Royal Roads University student experience, including residencies, if it's the right program for me, admission requirements and application process, intensity and expectations of the program, how it can advance my career, and not sure yet. And it's okay if you're not sure yet, because that's why you're here. You're here to find out this information. So I'm going to give it a few more seconds. You can cast your vote. Feel welcome to vote for as many as you'd like. Okay, 3, 2, 1. That was exciting, hey? All right, I'm going to share the results. Okay, it looks like we're all over the board with 3 at 86% of the participants here today want to know if it's the right program for me, the admission requirements and application process, and intensity of the expectations of the program. And people have voted for all of them. Thanks for sharing that. So today we'll be going over all of that. And at the end, if you still don't have your questions answered, we have a question and answer period at the end. So as I mentioned, we'll go through a brief overview of the Royal Roads experience. We'll do program information. We'll do a Q&A with Farid. We'll do an application process and requirements, and any questions, pop them in the chat. All right. So we are located in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. Give me a thumbs up, actually, using the reaction feature if you've been here before, and give me a heart emoji if you haven't visited the island yet, but you really want to come visit. And we're on a beautiful island off the coast of British Columbia. So we are right near kind of Vancouver as the biggest city that you can access by a ferry, or Seattle in the United States, which you can also get to by a ferry boat. And our top 3 industries are advanced technology, tourism, hospitality, and education. And you may have heard we're one of the mildest climates in Canada. So what that means is if it snows in the winter, we're actually a little bit surprised and not sure what to do with it. We sit at around 6 degrees Celsius in the winter and about 25 degrees Celsius in the summer. And here are some images of our space. So the top left is Hatley Castle. You might even recognize this castle from movies such as Deadpool and X-Men. Both were filmed at Hatley Castle. In the top right is a bridge in our Japanese gardens. We have a beautiful garden on campus that when you come to visit during your residencies, or if you're studying on campus, you can wander through the garden, and it's a great place to reset. The bottom left is an image of Esquimalt Lagoon. Our campus overlooks this beautiful lagoon. And the bottom right image is an ode to the fact that we have been teaching on and learning online for over 25 years here at Royal Roads University. And why explore Royal Roads University? I know that's why many of you are here. So here at Royal Roads, we see life as a qualification. And you'll find that in both our flexible and our standard admission. So what that means is we know that every single person here is coming to us with a different experiences, different background, and that's what makes everyone special. So we really look at that experience, and we'll talk more about that throughout today's session, what that means for flexible admission into the program. And we're really big on getting to know you fast. So there's not that, student number thing. We want to know your name and we want to know who you are quickly. And we really reflect that in the sizes of our cohorts. So we have smaller cohorts so that we really do have that first names first going at Royal Roads. and that learning based on life. So that idea that your experiences is what really, you can bring that to the cohort and bring that to your learning. And then at the same time, there's not that division between theory and practice. The things that you're learning in the classroom, you can apply the very next day at your job or at your organization. And you'll really be making connections for life. So you'll be meeting people in your cohort, that group of students you're going through the program with, and that'll be part of your professional network. And I hear again and again, people stay in touch with their cohorts for the rest of their life. And we were really built differently from day one. And I know Charles is going to be talking more about that, and Farid will be talking more about what Royal Roads is really all about and what we're like here. And we're also a Changemaker campus. So what that means is it's a designation recognizing colleges and universities that have embedded social innovation as one of the leading core values. And here at Royal Roads, we really believe in empowering others to lead change in the world. And with that, I am so pleased to welcome up Dr. Charles Krusekopf, who will introduce himself and he'll jump into the program structure.
Okay, thank you, Emara. And so my name is Charles Krusekopf. I am the program head for the MBA program. I've been at Royal Roads for, I think, 18 years now. My own personal field is in economics, and I did a lot of work in the environment programs, and I teach environmental economics as one of my courses. And then I have been in the business school now for over 10 years and working a lot with the international business elements of the program. So both the Masters of Global Management program, I know that program well, and then with the MBA, and I do work with both the Grenoble program. I was just in France with 18 of our students on the Grenoble program, and with the Asia Pacific, and I'm busy booking our flights and our hotels and everything. We're going to be visiting Tokyo and Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam in March. So sort of international business and international trade are the areas that I focus on in the program. But I'm coming to you today as the program head, working with all aspects of the program, and I'll talk about the general approaches to the program. It's great that you're here, and these programs are intended. So a lot of this information is on the website, or we present it to you in different ways. But what we're trying to give you is answer your questions. So please use the chat. Just put any questions. Whenever I'm not talking, then I'll be looking at the chat and trying to reply back to you and answer anything you have. I'm also happy if you reach out and to me if you want to set up a time. I just had coffee with someone yesterday to talk about, she's in her mid-40s, has been running her own business for quite a while, doesn't have an undergraduate degree, sort of wondering, is this program the right fit for her? What would it be like? What does she need to do to come in? And I tried to address that, and I'll go over that. And basically my answer was yes, absolutely. You will be welcomed. You will be among your peers in the program. So the average age in our program is probably late 30s, around, people that have significant work experience. If there's one thing that's true of people in the program, it's a significant amount of work experience, as we say, at least 7 years. If you have an undergraduate degree, post-graduation of work experience with some management. And if you don't have an undergraduate, which the majority of our students actually have not completed an undergraduate, people have even more work experience. That's at least 10 years of work experience. Then you come into the program and people say, okay, I'm intimidated. Even those people who've done an undergraduate, they're often 15 years from when they did their undergraduate. And their undergraduate, they say it wasn't in business, or it wasn't, in a topic that is directly related to this. How does that translate? So we're used to working with students that have diverse backgrounds. We're used to students that have that kind of intimidation about coming in. We have the continuing studies classes that people take to help them prepare, the writing, accounting to help you prepare that. And then I think most of all, make the leap. And Farid going to talk about this through his experience. He's a student in the program, and we're happy to connect you with other students from the program as well. but that sort of piece of, if you make the leap, you'll find yourself among a group of peers, people who are all like you and who want to, you'll work together and you'll pull yourselves through the program. I myself did the executive coaching graduate certificate at Royal Road. So I was an online learner and went through a program in a cohort as a member of a team. And I can definitely say those elements are so important to helping you come through the program. Our program, 51 credits, academic credits. That's basically 14 classes plus what you do, the organizational management project. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but you just do a kind of research consulting report type project for an organization and a situation of your choice. You can complete the program in 18 months or 31 months. And if you start in 18 months and decide it's too intense, again, everyone in the program is working full-time. People have families, people have all kinds of situations. They're taking care of their aging parents, they're taking care of their little kids, they're having kids during the program, they change jobs, so people, we have some flexibility built in where you can join, take some time off, join a different intake, or do the program in a more condensed time. I just want to get her done. We hear that from some people. Or you can take it in 31 months, which means that you basically take fewer classes during each term and just take a bit more time. The courses that you take in both programs are exactly the same. It's just the length and sort of stress level of getting it all done between the two programs. So this is a blended offering. We also have an on-campus offering, but I'm going to talk primarily about the blended offering because that's what we've been offering now for almost 20 years. It's kind of the Royal Roads core style, where you start the program online with your cohort. You take a couple of classes prior to coming into your residency. You then come into a 2-week residency where you're taking a couple of more classes and doing intense work together with your classmates. We say it's kind of like camp. You can come here to Victoria. I see it's already snowing in Alberta. So no matter when you come to Victoria, we have one residency that starts 1st of February, and the flowers are starting to come out in Victoria on 1st of February. It may snow, it's a little cold and wet, but it's definitely not piles of snow on the ground. Then the other intake is the summer intake. So it's beautiful. Come for your first residency, but you'll be working intensely during that residency. So you have classes, you have teamwork, you have presentations you have to prepare and deliver. So people all say that first residency is a very, very intense time period, but one that you really get to know your classmates, you bond together. You've already met them online. You've started to do some work. You really get to know them through the residency. And then you go back online and take your courses, most of the courses in the program, and work on your OMP online in between the two residencies. At the end of basically at the very end of the program, you'll come back for a second 2-week residency. That's kind of the capstone, so that you'll see everyone again. And you'll work on a live case. We'll talk a little bit about that, where you have companies that come in and present, and you work with a team on sort of consulting projects, internal, external evaluation, and presenting ideas back to the company themselves. So representatives from the companies are engaged. We do have a new on-campus program for students who are interested in that. Even in our on-campus program, some of the classes are on campus and some of the classes are online. It does meet the work authorization requirements of the Canadian government in terms of being more than 50% of the program is in an on-campus format. That includes the 2 residencies. So the on-campus students take the residencies together with the blended students, and then they do some of the classes on campus instead of online. So we can talk more. I'm happy to answer any questions about that program option as well. Okay, what is our program focus? As I say, people in the program have a significant amount of experience, and that experience comes from a huge range. This is a generalist program. This is not a program if you want to be a finance expert in Toronto at one of the big banks. This is not that program. This program is for people who find themselves in various management roles. Sometimes we get a lot of people in the provincial government or local governments. We get a lot of people from current and past military, partly the Royal Roads connection, but also our program is one that really helps you develop those management and leadership skills and apply them into the workspace. And so again, everyone in the program has a high level of work experience, and that work experience may be in a variety of different areas. They may work for a credit union, they may work for the provincial government, they may work in the another area of government, they may work in their own family business. So there's a whole range of different things that people do, which really you'll appreciate when you're in the program, because on your team, there'll be one person that knows a lot more about IT than you might, or another person who knows a lot about HR, or another person who knows a lot about the finance side. And so you will draw on the experience of all of the people in the program while you're doing the work in the program and beyond. And Emara mentioned that piece, and I'll say I'm still communicating and talking with a number of people from my coaching program because it becomes kind of your professional network as well. And so some of them are HR people. I'm not an HR person, but when I have an HR question, I can go to one of my classmates, one of my teammates, and say, hey, I've got this issue I have to work with. What do you suggest? I know you work with HR. How would you approach this problem? So building that network of people that have this diverse set of skills and working with them really, really will be beneficial. People also come from across Canada, primarily within the blended program. A number of people come in from overseas because they're on military deployment overseas or they're working overseas. So that's possible. And sometimes you have a little bit of challenges with the time because of the way that the classes and the time scheduling works, but that's always true when you're overseas and trying to work back into the Canadian context. But it's manageable. Those online classes that we do, they typically have, say, one session that's a live hour-long session in the evening, say 5 o'clock here, so 8 o'clock in Toronto. But then that is recorded if for some reason you can't make it to the session. So there's a lot of flexibility there in terms of how that works. But there may be 1 or 2 live sessions during a week. And then other than that, most of your discussions are asynchronous online, but with your cohort, people that you know really well. So you're doing teamwork online, you're posting things up, you're working together. So through all of those, you learn a lot of online skills, being able to work with teams, being able to lead people online, being able to teach and educate people online, because you will be presenting and bringing forward ideas to other people in that format. So all of that, are things that people say they really take back to their workplace. 18 months versus 31 months. So, you can choose, as they say, and it's not, a binary choice that if you start in 18 months, you can't do 31, or even if you start in 31, you can't switch to the 18. Everyone starts together. The first portion of the program is together. And then you move to your choice, or the cohort sort of splits into the groups where some of the students proceed taking, in most terms, 2 online courses at one time. And that gets you through in 18 months. The students who do the 31-month, in general, you take 1 online course at a time. So it stretches out the time. It's the same courses, just rather than doing the 2, you take 1 year, and then the next one 12 months later when it cycles around again. So you'll be taking it together with some of the 18-month students, say, who come in at a different cohort, but you'll still be together with your original cohort that started and is working in that same format. The on-campus program can be done in about 18 months. As I said, you do the 2 residencies together with the blended program, and then you take some on-campus courses that are offered together in partnership with our global management program for students. That's our master's program that's on campus. And then through that, you can earn your MBA and finish that program. Okay, so the on-campus program is just giving what I basically just said, where people start. You're going to start with the blended students. You're going to complete the first residency, and then you're going to take a course or 2 each term on campus, which will allow you for international students to meet the work visa authorization that you can get at the end of your program for doing an on-campus program within the Canadian context. Of course, now international students can work full-time while they're in the program as well. And this sort of format that we have really allows that, because you may only have 1 or 2 on-campus courses and then maybe an online course running at the same time to allow you to complete the program. But it will open up your schedule somewhat so that you're able to work full-time. Of course, in the blended program, basically everyone, some people are between jobs, or they sometimes say, okay, I'm going to focus on my MBA, so I don't want to work full-time while I'm doing my program. But in general, people are working part-time or full-time while they're in the program. So in that way, the audience and the admission standards for both programs are the same. Some of the key program elements that are available that we like to highlight. One is the organizational management project, and maybe Farid can talk about his OMP and what he's doing in his OMP. This is a business research project that you do for a client organization. You identify the client. We do have some organizations and projects that are seeking support, but in general, people use this sometimes for their own organization, but for the most part, they do it with a different organization. Students all say, well, I know my own organization. Maybe I want to advance, maybe I want to move to a different department or to a different role, and this OMP could allow me to do that. Or I want to try something else out, or I want to utilize my skills for a nonprofit organization, or utilize my skills in an area that I just want to try out or to gain some experience, because maybe I want to pivot my career. So a lot of people, I always say, why do people come back when they're 40 years old to do an MBA? Because they want to make a change personally, professionally. There's some change that they wanting to go through. And so your classmates, the people in the program are all going through this journey at the same time. And there are these elements in the program, both the assignments and different courses, where you often can choose what to focus on. And then this OMP that allow you to think, okay, how can I use this program and experience, the network of people I meet, what knowledge that I'm gaining, and then some of these applied projects to really launch me in a new direction. The live business challenge, that's in the second residency. We do have one in the first residency. You'll work in leadership. You'll work with an organization in the leadership class in the first residency. In the second residency, what it is basically companies present, and then you're working on a team, and it's like a consulting team that's working on a challenge, a problem, an issue, the internal, external evaluation, and present back to the company. So that's something that people do in the second residency. They have a lot of fun with it. It's really interesting. There's always very interesting companies. We just had an indigenous-owned software development company. It was one of our companies the last time. We've had family-owned businesses across a range of different industries. And so it's very interesting because the people come and present their company, and then students dive into it, do a lot of work, and then present back to the same people from the company. Our program includes the aspects that you would expect, especially a program that emphasizes leadership. Everyone will take leadership, strategy, change management, organizational behavior, those sort of thinking, a lot of that thinking about the internal aspects of the organization, your role as a manager, how do you lead people? Of course, leading people, that's always the most difficult part of the job. So there's a lot of focus on that. We also have courses, of course, accounting, finance. We have a course that really deals with risk management, the environment of management class that I'm teaching that class, about to kick off here. I'm teaching it in about a week. Operations, so those classes, pretty standard in different MBAs, but it gives you a chance to really explore for your own organization, as they say, or looking at other organizations, how these apply. Can the OMP be for an international organization? Absolutely. We would love that. That would be a great project. And as I say, I'm all about international. So I think that would be a great idea. One thing, and I was just talking yesterday with two of our MBA students who've come back then later after they've graduated, a few years after they graduated, and they decided to do our global management program. So part of that is you go through the program, you'll find that's very intense. And then a year or two after graduation, you'll say, I miss the interactions with people. I miss learning. I miss the regular ability to continue to professionally develop and personally develop. So we have set up this dual degree, and it's a two-way street. People can do the global management, MGM, Master of Global Management program at RRU, and bring those credits into our MBA and take a set of classes in MBA that aren't offered in MGM to complete their MBA as an additional full master's degree together with their MGM. Or, as I said, I was talking to a couple of MBA students who came back a few years after graduation and decided to do the MGM program because that's a global management focus. They just came back from a trip. They were in Turkey and Munich, looking at companies, looking at operations, how to apply different lean and different operations elements into, like they went to the BMW car factory, the MAN truck factory. We visited Amazon warehouses in the past, different things, and looking at how those apply within the German context, for example, or within Turkey. So that program is one that you can basically take your credits from MBA into MGM, and you just have to complete 6 classes then in the MGM program, and you'll get that second master's program. So it's something, first do one program. So if you haven't done either of these programs, first do one of the 2 programs, and then at any time after you graduate, if you want to do the second program, you can come back and do that later. You don't have to do the 2 back to back. One of the main aspects of the program are our specializations. I'm just looking at one of the questions. The dual degree, is it like a combined degree or have it done separately? They're basically separately. So you do one program, the complete program, and then you basically apply and join the second program, but you don't have to retake accounting, you don't have to retake finance, you don't take a lot of the classes that are similar. What you'll take is, so they have intercultural management in the MGM program that we don't necessarily teach in MBA. So therefore, you take those classes like that you would not take in the MBA program and gain the additionality, the additional courses that relate to global management. MBA specializations. So the specializations, you'll see that there are a lot of options available to you. These different specializations that we offer allow you to achieve, if you want, a graduate certificate from Royal Roads. And many of those graduate certificates align with different professional designations. So we have what we say 3 different, and it's really 4 different options inside the MBA program. And this is what most students end up doing, one of these options. So one is management consulting. So management consulting, you take 2 courses. You take our change management class, and then you take 2 courses within the management consulting specialization stream. And then from that, you will gain this specialization in management consulting, but it also is recognized by the Certified Management Consulting, CMC, and Certified Management Consultants of Canada. And you can gain recognition of those credits to help you achieve your CMC designation as a certified management consultant. And more, being a certified management consultant gives you a leg up, because it's something that really distinguishes you, just like being a certified executive coach distinguishes you in a sea of people who call themselves coaches. And someone asked last webinar the question, well, why do you say RRU is the #1 CMC partner? What does that mean? So it means that we have more students who have gotten their CMC, their Certified Management Consulting designation, by doing this stream in the MBA program and getting this management consulting specialization, which then gives them this academic credit towards their CMC. You still have to do the practicum pieces of the consulting work to achieve your it's a privately professional recognized designation, but you will have completed the academic requirements that you need for that. Otherwise, if you just went to CMC directly, you would have to take those courses through another partner in order to gain those credits. That's true at Royal Roads. We have, as I said, executive coaching, project management, a range of other professional designations that you can do through your specialization here. A second specialization that we offer through the Royal Road, through the MBA program specifically, is leadership. Everyone takes one leadership program or one leadership course, and then if you want to do the full graduate certificate or specialization in leadership, you complete 2 more courses in leadership. One's focused on emotional intelligence and one on leading in a global context. So those leadership courses and that global leadership class really focuses on diversity, equity, and inclusion as a key topic. And so those courses then give you the specialization in leadership. Finally, the one that I've been very involved with, the international business. Typically, we say, if you look at the schedule, you'll see that if you do an intake that starts in the summer, you're on track to do your specialization with our Europe partner. That's in Grenoble. So the Grenoble School of Management, you go for 2 weeks to southern France. You take classes through the Grenoble School of Management. You visit, those classes focus on the European Union and on innovation. And you get to visit several tech companies and understand the context of innovation and technological development and partnerships, and the European Union more broadly. How does it work? What are the important things to know? CETA, the trade agreement between Canada and the European Union, those sorts of elements. In this winter intake, it aligns with our Asia program, which happens every spring. And so in the Asia program, you take some online courses through Royal Roads, and then we lead a group to go to Asia. So right now I'm setting it up. We are going for 10 days in Tokyo and Ho Chi Minh City. We'll be online for about 5 weeks, go over there for a couple of weeks, and then finish off the class with 3 weeks online. So you'll get a broader look at particularly East Asian, but Asian economic development, some of the key elements, and then doing business in Asia. So we'll look at some case studies and how doing business in Vietnam might be very different than in Japan, and what are some key things you want to take away from that. So if you're in the 31-month program, you have a little bit more flexibility to choose among these. In the 18-month, to keep you on track, typically you'll take whichever one aligns with your intake. Again, in summer, aligns with Europe. In January, aligns with Asia Pacific. You can always come back. So we have 5 or 6 alumni who are coming back to do the Asia trip with us because they did management consulting when they were in the program, but now they want to come back. And so You can come back and do any of these specializations as well. We have opened it to people who have done a graduate certificate at Royal Roads or want to do one. So you can complete a graduate certificate, and Royal Roads offers almost 30 graduate certificates, and it's bewildering, 30 different options, but these include, so here's some options: Indigenous economic development, that's one I helped develop and lead. Project management, that's affiliated with the Project Management Institute. Change management with the Association of Change Management Professionals. Executive coaching, human resources management, social innovation. There's several in the climate action area. So leading climate action, community-based approaches to addressing climate change. There's several certificates. Professional communications has certificates. There's other leadership certificates that Royal Roads offers. You can do this graduate certificate prior to coming in to the program. So we say some people, if you're kind of intimidated, you're unsure, you're not sure you want to commit fully to MBA yet, or maybe just you've already done a graduate certificate at Royal Roads. We say, great, you can complete that graduate certificate, and we will recognize those. It was 3 courses. We will recognize those 3 courses, those 9 credits, into the MBA program. You will have completed your specialization. You can also do one of these graduate certificates in place of the leadership, management consulting, or the Europe or Asia. So you can do a graduate certificate. If Indigenous economic development is what you're really interested in, then you can enroll in that graduate certificate. And there'll be other students from just who are taking the graduate certificate or who are coming in from other Royal Roads programs who are doing these programs at the same time as you. So this is why these are not MBA kind of specific. These are open to people across the university and outside the university to do, but they're open to you as well as an MBA student to take these and use the credits as your specialization within the program. So this is just the thing. You can do it before. If you already have a graduate certificate or you have a master's degree from Royal Roads in any other field, we will recognize the credits, some of the credits from that master's program or all the credits from your graduate certificate into the MBA. So you can do it before starting. You can do it while you're in the MBA, or as I say, a lot of students graduate. A couple of years later, they say, you know, I've always wanted to do that management consulting, or I always wanted to finish my executive coaching. Now I can do it a couple of years after MBA. During the MBA, it was too busy. I needed a year or 2 to decompress. Now I'm ready to go back and do a graduate certificate. They're always there. They're available to you as well. And as I say, we have 5 or 6 alums who are coming back to do the Asia trip with us. It's a great way to reconnect, meet new people who are similar, and learn something new. So that continuous journey of learning is something that we really emphasize. Now, I get to turn it over.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Charles. And now, Farid, I am so excited to welcome you back up. And Charles will be monitoring the chat and answering all those questions that came in, I think. And we'll also have some time at the end for the questions. So feel welcome to pop them in the chat. And now this happens to be one of my favorite parts of a webinar, is talking with a current student. So my first question for you is to tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah. Thanks for having me here. I'm super excited. I attended a similar session to this back in 2020. It really helped me take the leap. So I hope that I can help a few of you also make that decision. Yeah, I'm Farid Poursoltani. I'm a director of business development for EJTC and E2 Inc. EJTC is a non-for-profit electrical training, sponsorship, and education facility for the union sector, IBW, and the Electrical Contractors Association of BC. We manage anywhere from 8 to 900 apprentices at a time and facilitate their learning through their apprenticeship. E2 Inc. is our for-profit subsidiary. It allows us really to do training and programs worldwide. A lot of our clients are in Canada, United States, but we have some clients also globally. So that's me professionally, personally, and I think this will help you also in your decision making. I'm still an avid outdoors person. I'm still very active. The MBA does not take that away from you. And I'm a family guy. I got 2 young daughters, 6 and 2. So that's me.
Thank you for sharing that. And that's I like this full circle that you were part of the 2020 webinar, tuning in, and now here you are part of the 2022 webinar. I love that. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. So what drew you to Royal Roads University and the MBA program?
Yeah, I come from the trades background. I have my Red Seal electrical ticket. Years later, I did my undergrad at Thompson River University in leadership. As I progressed in my career, I realized, you know, you can gain a lot of experience, obviously, through mentoring, working with your leaders, and just in the work experience. But having that theory behind it, some of the tools that you gain in a leadership program, like management program, like an MBA, would be fantastic. The other part was I travel quite a bit because of work. I have my 2 kids, and selfishly, I don't want to give up some of my personal things, running, biking, swimming, gym, all that stuff. I was looking for a program that could be flexible and meet all those needs. A couple of my friends and my boss had attended RRU MBA program in the past. I reached out to them. As soon as I learned about the blended program and the Royal Roads' extensive experience with online programs, and I think they're one of the longest running blended learning, online learning type program anyway that I found, that was the right fit for me. That was the initial part. Obviously, going through the seminars, learning about the professors, you know, your objective of training folks to, you know, be able to really manage different departments, not necessarily become a professional in accounting or the master in marketing, but be able to understand the language and manage that process. That was another piece that really spoke to me.
Thank you. And you kind of alluded a little bit about some of your kind of questions or concerns regarding kind of losing some of your free time. But do you want to kind of dive in a little bit more about what kind of questions or concerns that you may have had about returning to school?
Yeah, I mean, I honestly think some of those things can be subjective, but at the same time, I think we all have similar concerns. One is master's level academic writing. What does that look like? You know, APA, etc. I took a writing course. I highly recommend that to you folks. I think RRU has one. I took mine at BCIT. I was also, I did my undergrad a little bit later in life. I did it in my mid-30s, so that kind of helped out. But so that was one of the concerns. But I'll tell you right now, once you get into the program, if you do the pre-work and you trust the process, you're going to hear that quite a bit. The program is designed for professionals like yourself, myself, to have to go through that process. They're not there to fail you. They're there to help you. There's writing center. There's a lot of people, you know, that are hired to help us, you know, succeed through the program. But that was one of my main concerns. The other concern was professional time, professional and personal time. How much of that do I have to give up for this program? And you know, there's a reality that you will have to set your mind that you will be putting a lot of time aside for studying and teamwork. But on the long run, looking back at it, at least for me, the 31-month program, it was very minor changes in my schedule. So yeah, those are my concerns without going way too detailed.
Thank you. And that's always a good reminder for anything. Trust the process, right? Thank you for saying that. I like that. I'm going to use that in my mind for the rest of the day. So trusting the process. My next question for you is, what were the most rewarding and some of the most challenging parts of the MBA program for you? And I know you're still in it. And you mentioned you're at your OMP right now. So tell us a bit more about the rewarding parts and the challenging parts of the program.
Yeah, I actually just finished this Sunday. I just completed all my programs. I did my specialization in management consulting. So I'm just working on the OMP. I can't tell you how amazing that feels. I hope you also go through that process one day and feel that weight off your shoulder. The rewarding part, Charles touched on this. You're gonna hear this a lot, but honestly, you gotta go through it to really feel it, is the connections you're gonna build. I have a bunch of WhatsApp groups that Sometimes it goes silent for a few weeks. Sometimes it's just buzzing. You can tell when it's buzzing when it's assignment time. And you build these network. You may have heard of this before: forming, storming, norming, and performing. It's a reality. You're going to work with all sorts of personalities. You're going to work with all these professionals that have either a lot more experience than you or they're about to get there. And those relationships, I think, are going to be valuable for me for a lifetime. Definitely a few really good close friendships. The other rewarding thing, I'm just looking at my notes I took here, the tools. You know, you gain all sorts of tools in leadership, change management, management consulting that I have definitely put into use in my organization. Even my OMP, I'm doing a research on recruitment and retention with a focus on diversity and inclusion for my organization because we're struggling with that in the trades. So those are the tools that you've gained. You really put those together to make that research happen. And I think that's something that's just, they can't take that away from you. It's going to stick with you, right? You mentioned challenging parts. You know, some of the people on your team are going to come from all sorts of different areas of the country. You know, Ontario, that's 3 hours away. I had a colleague, Tyler, in Japan. I had a colleague in Cameroon, I believe it was. So some of those times getting together and meeting can be a challenge, but nothing amazing is easy. I always kept saying that to myself. So that's one of the challenges. The other part is time management. So let me tell you this, one of the best things that happened to me is I've become extremely organized with my time management. And that'll probably go into the next question. So Emara, do you mind if I just dive into it? Yeah, so it says balancing work, home, and school. If you do not learn to manage your time accordingly, you will find the program difficult. But it's not designed to be difficult. It's designed to work around your personal life and your work life. The seminars can be on evenings during the weekday, but they're recorded, so you can always listen to them at your own time. I often, if I couldn't attend, I would watch the recording in the morning while I'm in the gym on a treadmill. So I had to reschedule my life. The mornings is my personal time, gym time, bike, swim, whatever I like to do. Then after that, help my wife get the kids ready, work, and then in the evenings, 8 to 10 was my study time. I also dedicated Saturday, Sunday morning and evenings, but I don't want to scare you. It's not every Saturday, Sunday morning and evenings that you're going to dedicate. It just really depends on the schedule of the program. You would know what's coming up and you really set your schedule based on that. So if you're not an organized person, like I wasn't, that's something that you're going to have to really work on. And once you get in the realm of doing it, it becomes easy breezy. If you're an organized person, then you'll have no issue. You'll set up a schedule, objective goals, and you'll be just at it, no problem. I hope that answered your question.
I'm glad you should almost consult and help people organize their life for the MBA. So the last question I have for you is,
I wouldn't have done this 2 years ago, Emara. I prepped.
So the last question though, and you've been giving some advice throughout all of the questions, but do you have any kind of final advice for someone, the people in the room or watching the recording, who's considering the MBA?
Yeah, I thought about this one quite a bit. I can probably give you a ton of things that I've learned, but I had to make this one personal for me. Most of you are obviously professionals and some of you have young children like I do. If you have young children, make sure that your significant other is also on board. I often tell my wife, I feel like we're through the MBA together. I mean, if it wasn't for her efforts and support, when I had to do assignments with my team, the many team meetings in the mornings and evenings and seminars, etc., it can become more difficult, right? That's another part, stress that you have in the back of your mind because the family obligation is extremely important. So that would be my advice. Make sure that your partner in life, is on board. They understand what you're going to be doing for the next couple of years. And honestly, before you know it, it's over. And when it's over, and you're going to be laughing. And that's what I'm in the laughing process slightly. I'm still got the OMP to finish. But yeah, I just like Charles said, I'm one of those people that I enjoyed the process so much that I'm looking forward to coming back in a maybe 6 months or a year to maybe do the MGM degree or one of the programs, that's for sure.
Thank you so much. And that is so true. Make sure that you're managing the expectations of the people in your life and letting them know that you're doing a program. So your partner, family, friends. Yeah, that's great advice. And we do have a Doctor of Business Administration program as well. I can send you the link to our next webinar. I'll see you there.
That will be when I retire, Emara.
I'm just giving you a hard time. There's no pressure. We'll get you into that program next year. So we're going to jump to the next how to apply. But Farid, I just want to thank you so much. And I know everybody in the audience really appreciates how you answered all the questions and all the tips that you gave everyone. So thank you.
Yeah, for sure. My pleasure.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into how to apply. And we've been kind of alluding to this, that we're going to talk about what it means to have standard admission and flexible admission. And I also want to stress that all of this information is on our website. So if at any point you're not sure, refer to our website. We keep it up to date, and you can always reach out to us to clarify anything or to see where you fit with the standard or flexible admission. So what we have here is our standard admission. So what that looks like is a completion of a 4-year or comparable undergraduate degree in a related field from a recognized post-secondary institution. And we also require normally at least 7 years of full-time relevant work experience with 3 years at a management level, demonstrating increasing levels of responsibility. And as well, there's a demonstration required of writing and numeracy skills needed to succeed in the program. And it can be met through prior coursework, work experience, professional credentials. And I know we've been kind of mentioning the benefits of an academic writing and critical thinking program. We do offer one of those at Royal Roads. And I know Alana popped a link in the chat earlier about that program. And we do have our flexible admission. So I want to stress that it is every single application is looked at case by case. So don't look at the requirements and self-select yourself out, because you'd never know. You might have the experience needed. So if you're not sure, do connect with us directly, and we will kind of help you one-on-one. So learn.more at royalroads.ca. You can connect with us. And so to be considered for the flexible admission, applicants would normally require approximately 10 years of full-time business-related work experience, demonstrating increasing levels of responsibility, and a combination of post-secondary and professional accredited qualifications if possible. And to help you prepare for the MBA program, we do really recommend taking the foundation courses in academic writing and critical thinking and accounting. And we offer those through Royal Roads. So these are the courses that we offer in advance to prepare you for the MBA. We offer the financial accounting, we offer managerial accounting, and we offer academic writing and critical thinking. And we do recommend taking these courses in advance of taking the MBA program, if possible. So English is the first language of instruction at Royal Roads University. So if your primary language is not English, you must meet our English language requirement through one of 3 ways: either submission of an official English language proficiency score, graduation from a college or university at which English is the primary language of instruction, or completion of a pathway program through the Global Learning and Language Center at Royal Roads University. And key dates. We also keep this information completely up to date on our website. So if you're wanting to apply and start the program this winter, you definitely want to submit your application before December 5th, 2022. And that would be if you wanted to start for either the 18 or 31-month blended start date starting this January. So that's if you want to start right away. We also have a summer intake. So that's for the 18 and 31 month. As Charles mentioned earlier, we start everybody off at the same time. And the on-campus start date, the application deadline is this April. And you would start in July of 2023. And you don't have to wait for the deadline to apply. You can apply at any point. So don't worry about waiting till the deadline. If you're ready to go now, submit your application. So the next thing that we're going to cover is how to apply. So you want to go online and start up an online application. And that's through our website. You pay a small application fee, and then you submit your supporting documents. And I recently applied for a program at Royal Roads, and I basically treated my application like an assignment. I went to the website, I looked at all the things I needed to do, and I treated it like a checklist. So you want to submit your official transcripts from any previous post-secondary education. You want to submit a detailed resume. And we actually outline what information we want from you in the detailed resume. So it's a bit more than that standard one-page resume that you would use to apply for a job. We want to know details. We want to know any associations you're part of. We want to have you demonstrate that that level of management and increasing levels of responsibility. We want to hear about your extracurricular activities, all of that, as well as a personal statement or statement of intent. And that's really your why. Why do you want to do this program? And I actually really enjoyed the personal statement. It really, really helped me realize that, yes, this is the right fit for me. It was a really good exercise in reflection. And at the end of it, I realized that the program I was applying for was the right fit for me, and it had a lot to bring me, and I had a lot to offer to it. You may also have to submit a writing sample and 2 letters of reference. So all details about this are on the website. So definitely check it out for deeper details. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out and we can help clarify. And another thing you want to start doing at this point in the process is look at financial aid. So we have different financial aid available. Definitely connect with our financial aid and award specialists if you have any questions or need help with the resources. But we have things like loans, awards, scholarships, and other funding. So check out their website, and you can always set up an appointment one-on-one with a financial aid and award specialist to discuss your unique situation. And as I mentioned many times, but I'll say it one more time, we are here to support you. So if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to connect with us. If you want to make sure that this is the right program for you, or you have any questions about your eligibility into the program, reach out. And here is our contact information. Sending an email to learn.more@ruralroads.ca is the best way to reach out to us, and we will do our best to answer your question and support you. And now I'm looking here, and we're at the end of our webinar, but I have a quick poll. So I'm going to get you to look up at your screen. The poll is basically saying, did we answer all your questions? So did we cover everything that you were hoping to learn at today's session? And I hope we did, but if we didn't, that's okay. Please just pop in the chat your question, and I'm gonna have a look at the chat. And in the meantime, Charles, while you were looking at the chat, did you see anything come up that you'd like to answer that you haven't had a chance to yet?
No, Mo is just asking, and maybe you can remind us, Elena, if you take the academic writing and critical thinking course, I think that does count as your academic writing sample in the application. You can do that instead. I read the applications. I'll say yes, that's true. If you take that course, you will have covered what you need. It's just the idea there is that we just want you to feel comfortable and confident, right? You don't want to come into the program and then be behind trying to scramble and catch up in terms of getting your academic writing to speed while you're taking your leadership and your change management and the different courses, right? So just it's a chance to work on that. We have a writing class within the program, and we have that academic writing and critical thinking class, and people find both helpful. The course is not technically a writing class, it's the argument, developing argument. So it takes the material you do in the original continuing studies class and sort of builds on that to try to help you build your arguments and supporting data, et cetera, for your papers, both team papers and individual papers in the program. Yes. Awesome.
Thank you, Charles. And it looks like we got 100%. That's a pretty good mark, hey? We answered everybody's questions. Awesome. And I know we're at time here, and we always try and pack so much into our webinars. So if a question comes up at a later date or time, just reply to my email or reach out to our enrollment team. And I want to invite you, Charles, for any final things that you'd like to share with the people in the room today. And then we're going to wrap up the discussion.
Thanks. And I know that, we'd be happy to talk with you. And then if you want to talk with a student or alumni, we can help try to connect you with someone as well, because there may be someone in your field or someone in your geographic area, that can be helpful as well. And many of you, we find that I think 80% of our students come in having talked to someone who went to Royal Roads. Often that's, someone from work, et cetera, but we can also help connect you with people. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any questions. And I read most of the applications. And so feel free if you have a big question like, or even, I'm not sure, do I qualify? Is this the right program for me? I'm happy to talk with you a bit more, just one-on-one. So thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And I want to thank everybody in the room today for joining us, and all of you who are watching the recording at a later time, and our enrollment team, thank you for supporting the session in the chat. And Farid, thank you for sharing all your insight and advice and experiences with us.
Yeah, no, thank you for having me. It was fantastic. Cheers.
Wonderful. Well, take care, everybody. We'll see you at a later date. Maybe we'll invite some of you back to present at a webinar in a few years once you complete the MBA. Take care.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Farid.